Well, today's moving day. We're going to move the sheep to a new pasture. The first thing I have to do is take down the temporary fencing I have in the pasture they're in. I've already rotated them through this. I don't know what this is, probably 3 acres here maybe. I've got it divided into 5 or 6 little paddocks, and I'm going to take all that fencing down and get ready to move them. So this is what I use, these step-in posts, 2 strands of poly rope. I can put up 2 about as quick as I can put up 1. I think it just does a better job of holding them, especially with the lambs in there. So we're going to take this down. I've got like, I think 5 paddocks across here. The sheep spent about 2 days in each paddock, and then I moved them to the next one. I like to go ahead and set up several paddocks when I have a chance, and then I can just on a day it's time to move the sheep, all I have to do is open a gate, move their water, and they're ready to go. It takes about 15 minutes to move them after you've got all the paddocks set up. I've already unhooked this fence from the other end. All I have to do now is wind it up. All right, I'm over here at the other field now, putting up the other fence. The fence over at the edge of the field, I've ran a extra temporary fence hot wire down that side, because that's just a barbed wire fence down through there. Works okay, I guess you could say, to hold the sheep in, but not very well, especially for the lambs or if they just start getting a little curious. So that temporary hot wire in front of that, there's 2 strands of it. That does a pretty good job of keeping them away from the other fence. Then I've simply divided this in half. I've drove down through here, mashed the grass down. There's a couple of steel posts out through there from last year that I have left. This pretty well divides the field in half. So I've run 2 lines down through here, and then get back in all these weeds and brush and attach it to this post right here. I use these non-conductive handles. I really like them because I can put them anywhere, and then just run me a jumper wire from here to wherever I want to make it hot. Put a carabiner on the end of it, on this end where the reel ends up staying. I just hook the wire in the carabiner, pull back what I need to make it snug, and fasten it with my wire link. Take up the extra slack on the reel. Lock it so it doesn't unwind, and then just set it back to where it keeps that wire little bit out of the way. Again, just snap the wire in the carabiner. Figure out where it needs to be pretty snug. Fasten it with my wire link here. Rope link, I think they call it, from Premier One. Just that easy. Take up the extra slack. Lock the reel. And that's how I terminate the end of the fence. This way I can hook it to anything. These happen to be hooked to some insulated connectors, but I could just easily hook that to an uninsulated post, a wire, anything I have there. Then I'll make this hot from the other end. Now just drive down through here and put my post in. I'm ready to go. Well, I brought the sheep over to the summer pasture a couple of weeks ago, and as you can see behind me, they have grazed this down pretty good already. They were on it probably 4 or 5 days, and then I moved them to the next section. I ran a bush hog over this just to clean it up a little bit, knock it down and get it more in a vegetative state, because where it started was here. This has just gotten way out of hand, and instead of trying to get somebody to cut it for hay, because I gave up cutting hay a few years ago, I just buy my hay. It's actually cheaper in the long run. So I set up some temporary fence, electric fence here, to to divide this up. But also, if we can, well, I'll get a shot of it here in a minute. The other side of the field, there is a nice house over there. They've got a nice yard, a garden, and I have to make sure I keep the sheep out of that. The only fencing down that side is some barbed wire fence from the that the owner had put up several years ago. It's not even in the best of shape. But I found if I run a good couple of strands of really good hot wire inside that, it does a pretty good job of keeping the sheep in. I just have to make sure that I keep it really hot. The issue I had when I moved them over here this year, well, part of the issue is I don't have any electric over here, so I have to use solar fence chargers. And I've got 2 of them, had 2 of them. I put one over here. It lasted about a day and it quit working. I thought it was probably a bad battery, but that turned out to not be the case. I put my other one over here and it didn't even last a day. So what I did, get over the fence here. What I did in the meantime was I put together my own solar charger. Now this is the solar charger that I put together. What it is a fairly cheap solar panel that I bought at Harbor Freight. It's just like a 5-watt solar panel. I've got everything inside this battery box. I don't remember where I got it. I've had it for years. Inside the battery box, I've got a car battery, a smaller one. It's only like a, let's say, 150 amp 12 volt battery. So you may not call that a car battery. It's more of a larger lawnmower battery. I've got my solar charge controller from Harbor Freight, and I have a 12 volt DC fence charger. It's a 1 joule charger. It's simply hooked up to the car battery. The solar panel is hooked up to the car battery through the charge controller. And to be honest, this really doesn't work bad. It's fairly portable, relatively weatherproof, and I just sit it on the ground. Now that I don't know how long the 5-watt panel will actually keep that charged, but it puts out a good hot charge for, well, I probably used it for a week, but I really don't like the idea of not having a backup, which is why I had 2 of the other fence chargers. Now they were smaller chargers. They were like a, I think one was a one of them was a 0.15 joule charger. The other one was a 0.25 charger. So they weren't very big chargers, but they, for the most part, they worked. But once they quit, I decided I'm gonna go with something bigger. This makeshift solar 1 joule charger does pretty good, but for my backup, I went ahead and purchased this charger. This is a Solar IntelliShock 120X from Premier One. The X version of this comes with a 20-watt solar panel, whereas that one has a 5-watt solar panel. This one is also 12 volt, although it uses batteries that you would have to buy for this. They're not car type batteries. But it's been on here for 3 or 4 or 5 days, something like that. It's done really well. It's got a light on it. It turned around here. Down here, that's your on-off switch. It says as long as that is blinking green, your battery is good. So in those several days where it's been pretty cloudy, it's holding a good charge. Of course, I don't have miles of fence on it, but it's working for my purposes. It does have an option here that you can plug in a 120 volt charger and recharge these batteries at home if you need to. If you run into a situation that you're just not getting enough sunlight, or at the beginning of your grazing and you want to make sure it's charged really good before you start. But I'm happy with it. My makeshift one works and actually doesn't work bad. So it's going to be a good backup for me now. I'm not going to count on it as my primary. I will use the other one as the primary, and this one will be my backup if I need it, or if I need one somewhere else. This is the solar charger I was using. This particular one is a, however you say it, Zariba brand. Now I've had this charger for I've probably had this charger for 6 years. I can't really complain about it. It's a 0.15 joule, so it's not a real hot charger. This is 0.15. The one I just bought to replace this is a 1.2. So you're talking, well, almost 10 times as hot. I do like the fact that these have a built-in way to hang them on a T-post. But I've got two of these chargers. One is the Zariba brand. The other one looks just like it. It's some Tractor Supply brand. And both of these, this year, when you turn them on, well, both of them, the light would actually blink saying it was on, but it actually wasn't putting anything out. And when I check the batteries with a voltage tester, the batteries test good. So I don't know, I might open it up, see if there's something in there I can find. Otherwise, I guess these will get tossed and I'll go with my other ones. Big part of the reason I want to make sure I have a good hot fence is because this field, of course it's not mine, I just rent this pasture. It's simply got a barbed wire fence down this side. I run a temporary, two temporary hot lines down through here. The neighbor has sprayed this to kill the grass out. But I don't know if you can see, he's got his garden over there. He's got a nice yard. Keeps his place really nice. He doesn't want sheep running over there on it, and they shouldn't be. So I want to make sure I have a good hot charger. Keep my sheep where they're supposed to be. They're my sheep. It's my responsibility to keep them there. I just wanted to show you what I was up to. The fence chargers that I'm trying out, the kind of homemade one and the one I bought from Premier One, I think either one of them are going to work. If I had to just start from scratch, I would just buy the one from Premier One and be done with it. But now I've got it, and I've got a backup that I think I can count on pretty good to replace the cheaper, smaller chargers I've been getting from Tractor Supply. So that's it for today, at least for as far as fencing is concerned. I'm gonna go do some bush hogging on another field. Day or two I will move these sheep to another section, and I've got another piece of equipment that I'll show you when I do that. A lot like the car battery fence charger, I've got another piece of equipment that I have put together myself for my rotational grazing. I'll show you that in the next video. I think I've just about got it ready to go. So until then, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.